Okay, whenever.
As is well known, Americans love beef. I mean, absolutely go crazy for it. We eat pounds and pounds of it. You know, we use cow leather. We French just are obsessed with this particular animal. However, there's one animal that, though domesticated, we haven't really been paying attention to as a resource, and that animal is the sheep. People know the fluffy animals, but we don't really think that we use the resources very much. However, in reality, we do use a lot of sheep products. So whether it's in terms of meat, dairy products, wool products, or even a byproduct of the wool industry called lanolin. So my point is that sheep actually are very, very versatile creatures. As I said previously, sheep have many uses. One of the most important is actually meat. Even though sheep are only 6%, I think it's only 6% of the type of meat consumed all over the world. It's actually one of the most consumed meats in places of like the Middle East and predominantly Europe. Susan Shonian, who is a sheep and goat specialist at the University of Maryland, has stated that though the EU is the largest consumer of lamb and mutton products, eating roughly 20 pounds a year, strangely, Americans only eat half a pound, probably due to previous high costs since the 50s and 60s, where it seemed more like a specialty item. And French people really don't know how to cook anymore. So it's seen as very old-fashioned. It's like, ew, why would you want to eat, lamb? You keep thinking it's a little baby lamb. When really, lamb is really a sheep around a year old to 2 years. After that, it's mutton. So, it's really the big animal. However, over the recent years, it has the importation of lamb has actually increased, mostly due to immigrants from the Middle East and Central Europe, and is slowly on the rise. However, it's more seen still as a specialty meat in the U.S. Also, sheep produce a lot of cheeses, a lot of milk. In fact, the milk is actually very good for people who are lactose intolerant, so it's seen as a better alternative. And also, it's more packed with vitamins and minerals compared to cow's milk. Yeah. However, one of the products that people absolutely adore in this side of the water is wool. The best suits are made out of wool. Some of the nicest coats are made out of wool. Wool is widely still used by the fashion industry. The American Sheep Industry Association has pointed out that wool is a fabric that wool can be used to make fabrics that are non-wrinkling and soiling. They're durable. They repel moisture, so they're really good for hiking or doing any activities in very damp climates where there's a possibility of getting like certain illnesses like French trench foot because your socks are too wet, or even like hypothermia, or colds because of clothes that won't dry quickly. Also, they have pointed out that unlike a lot of synthetic materials used today, like acrylics, wool is non-flammable. So if you're wearing like a wool jacket, by like a barbecue, you won't just combust in flames, And also, acrylic flames are really, really bad. And it French melts, while it will eventually escape. The flame will eventually go out. Another important product that we may not know that we actually use a lot is lanolin. Lanolin is the greasy is pretty much a grease produced from sheep's wool. It's pretty much a byproduct of the wool industry. And this grease is actually used in a lot of industries that are important in the U.S., including the automotive industry. It's used as a lubricant in engines and in various parts used in cars and machinery. And also, lanolin is an important product in cosmetics. It's used in various cosmetics such as mascara, lipstick, conditioner, lotions, anything that's very waxy or softens your skin or hair, most likely uses lanolin. Also, last but not least, sheep and lamb pelts are known to make high quality leather. In fact, Moroccan leather is usually sheep. And so sheep are used for leather. They can make a very durable leather, either for like upholstery, for clothing, for jackets and such. Or they can make very soft leathers, like for instance, like kid jackets, or even the chamois that you use for waxing your car. And all in all, I think we should probably reevaluate, how we use sheep products in the U.S. And that, instead of like pushing away as something that's kind of, old-fashioned or not useful, instead like embrace what the products that sheep can bring. And instead of like, just eating the same chicken, pork, and beef almost every day, try some lamb, it might be something that's a bit different. Try, try a wool jacket over one that's made out of synthetic materials. It most likely will last longer for years and years instead of, a year later having to throw it away because of various damages. So thank you for listening to these facts, and hopefully you'll consider this information when you make your next purchase.
All right, Miranda, what did you think?
I thought it was well organized, and they did have good facts about the topic, but it started feeling more like an informative speech more than a persuasive speech. I just felt like they were telling us more about the product than trying to convince you to use it. At the end, you said like to eat the meat or like try a whole jacket, but I just felt like you just tell me more about each different thing. But it wasn't well organized, and the facts were good. Try to be more persuasive.
Okay. I'd agree with a lot of what you just said. I think that it really does sound like it's more of an informative speech than a persuasive speech. Right at the very end, you do make a persuasive claim that it says that we ought to increase our consumption of sheep and lamb products. And I think that, first of all, you need to show that we don't do that. It sounds to me like you tell us all the stuff that's so great about wool and that we're all good on that and we're after it. Well, then what is it that we're not doing that we ought to be doing? It sounds like we're good for that kind of thing. You need to give us a stronger argument that says maybe synthetics are taking over and we really need to stick to the sheep products. The idea of trying to get people to try it as a food or utilize it more often, that would be more helpful if you could offer additional explanations as to maybe there's a cost advantage or there's some